Welcome to the show, everyone. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We'll share the show later on. You know, I love my show, and I really say that all the time. And the reason why I say that is because of all the information that people get. You know, it's not politics, and it's not anything else but information for people, and I love that about the show. And maybe it's you or someone that you know. Tell them about what you hear, because it may not be for you, but it might be for someone that you know. And that's what networking is all about, and that's why I call it Networking Arizona. My first guest, we're going to be talking quite a bit right now with Karen ROSNER, and you are a financial coach, and I want you to talk about it. It's KMR, Personal Financial Coaching. And how you have to tell your story,
okay? Because
how you got to be out of debt, how fast? Within like what, a year and a half, maybe?
20 months. 20 months.
20 months. So let me tell you something, folks. Listen up. You are a financial coach.
Mm-hmm.
You yourself started with yourself, so you can walk in people's shoes, right?
Yes.
And I want you to talk a little bit about you and your story. And then I want to talk about some of the people that you've helped. Listen up, everyone. This is really cool. And a lot of people out there, they're in debt, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Debt. Oh, yes. Hi, everyone. It's Karen. Thank you. And I was born and raised in Massachusetts. I became a social worker. And then as a social worker, I worked with several people that needed help with finances, and they didn't, especially the seniors and people over 40, they just didn't know how to control their spending, or also where they can get extra money. They were running out of money but had a lot more month left. So, and I was in that predicament too when I became divorced. When I was divorced several years ago, I got custody of my son, which I was very happy for, and then I got $50,000 of debt, and I had a child, I had a health issue, and I'll go in a little bit after that, but I was working, and I was trying to put food on the table, but my health was getting worse. I was making only $35,000 a year, and I'm like, I got to do something. So what I did is I really tracked my spending to the penny, and I looked at where I was spending my money. A lot of it was on fast food at the time, because it was a lot easier for me to go to fast food because of the energy, or the lack of energy I had due to health issues. It was easier to go to McDonald's, Burger King, or what have you. And then I realized that I need to cut down on that. So I did. I also talked to credit card companies that I had debt with. They worked with me on that. And I was able, with everything else, I was able to get out of debt within 20 months. And I developed a program, and that's the program I use today for my clients. And they're like, well, I don't want to look at what I spend. And I was like, that's the first step, is realizing where you're spending the money and how much you're spending in that particular field or category.
Now, it's a program.
It's a program.
Specialized program that you have created for people. And it's all about I love your website, which is the new website, is what? What is it?
Your debt.
It's on the front of me. I have to write it down. Say it again.
YourDebtFreeQuickly.com.
Okay, debt
free
quickly.com. Perfect. Okay, so your debt-free quickly.com. What I want you to do is I want you to check it out. And here's the reason why. When you have a program, when you have somebody who's an accountability partner, which is what you have talked about in the past,
right?
Okay?
Right.
Number one, for people to help you with ideas, help you not feel bad about yourself when you do maybe spend, but also tell you, okay, you did that there, but now we're going to reel you in again, so that you can help people like that. Your debt-free quickly KMR.com. We're going to open up the lines of the audience. She's also an author of a book, which we're going to talk about probably after the break, okay? Because I first want to talk about the program, okay? Tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, the program is in several steps. First of all, like I said, it's tracking. I want my clients to track what they spend for the next month, for the first month. And then after they track it, I analyze what they have spent. And then I meet with them via Zoom or in person, and we go over their spending. And they're like, I spend that much on that? Or I didn't do that. And I'm like, well, those are the numbers you gave me, so I didn't make them up. And so that's where they like get their eyes opened wide. And then we're like, okay. And then after that, we develop a plan, a spending plan or a budget. And everybody doesn't like the B word.
Right.
So
nobody wants to have a budget.
No.
But you need to be your own personal financial advisor. That's what I think.
Yes.
Especially today. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we do the budget and the plan. And then we have the accountability partner. It's like, it could be me, and a lot of times it is. Or if you have a friend or a loved one that's want to be your accountability partner, let them be. But they have to tell you no. And when I was getting out of debt, I had my friend be my accountability partner. And it's so funny. I wanted to buy a magazine back in the day. It was only $1.50. And I'm in the grocery line, and of course it's right there where impulse buying happens. And I text her, I was like, tell me no. And she texts me, no. And then the next text, why am I telling you no? I'm like, I want to buy a magazine. And I got no in capital letters and explanation points.
And it doesn't even matter. I mean, $1.50 here, $1.75 there, whatever it is.
Yeah, it adds up.
It really does. And it's the column I call stupid money, you know? And there's a lot of it, right? A lot of people.
There is a lot of it. But the thing is, when we're making a budget, we do budget for stupid money, if you want to call it, blow money, or just whatever you want to call that category. And I had that, and I already went through it, so I couldn't buy that magazine. But when I paid off a credit card, my friend gave me 2 issues of that magazine.
Now you see, so there's not only accountability there, but also a reward program to yourself. And you know, a lot of people think they can do this by themselves, but there's no way. You know why? You lie to yourself faster than you would to anybody else. Right?
Right. And you wanna celebrate the little wins. If you pay off $50 on a credit card, celebrate.
Yay!
And if you pay off a full credit card, celebrate. And definitely, when you pay off your whole debt, do a big celebration.
Absolutely. You know, she has a new website that we're promoting right now. It's yourdebtfreequickly.com. Her phone number direct, it's 808-253-1157. And we're going to go to a break. When we come back, I want to talk about another story of a client. Because doing it with yourself is obviously great, and it's fabulous. But we want to talk about, you know, some of your clients that you work with that are all getting results from you, because there is a reason why you should have an accountability partner, a coach. There's a real good reason for it. Again, you can call her direct. Her phone number is 808-253-1157. Her website is debtfreequickly.com. Hang tight. We're going to be back in just a minute. I got to put this here because I thought it was your website. Your new lease on life. That's your foundation.
Yes.
Okay. See? Okay. No problem. So I want to talk about your the woman that you, or not just her, maybe even somebody different, you know?
Yep.
And a man. Do you only work with women?
No, I partially work with men, women, but I will work with men.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and actually, I have a new client. I could tell them a little bit about that. and it just happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think he was gonna give me a hug over the phone. So.
And how did he hear about you?
A friend of mine knew him, and he recommended, and I started talking to him, and he has a lot of medical debt.
There you go.
So.
I bet you that's another thing to talk about, medical debt.
Yes, and that'll be good because I know programs that others don't because I'm a social worker.
Okay, let's talk
Yeah.
about that separately. You can talk your story,
Yep.
and then we're going to talk about medical debt separately.
Okay.
Okay. Excuse me. There, it went right there. Well, lucky you to be able to go away. You must be excited.
I am very excited. No. Oh, come on. I was trying to get.
His name?
His name is Guy.
I wouldn't even bring up the name.
No. I really don't want to. And I don't like putting names on for my clients. So, I went too far. Copy. Where's my desk?
I'll let you go. I don't know what you're doing now.
I am pasting. Oh, why won't it do it?
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to paste the link to you, but I'll do it on my computer at home.
I won't look at it until later anyway.
I'm sorry?
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking about financial coaching and why it's so important. And a lot of people out there that are in debt, especially older people. For some reason, you said that there's a lot of people who are older that are in debt. We want to talk a little bit about one of your latest clients. But what we also want is for people to listen up, because it could be you or someone that you know, and why it is so important to be able to have a coach who's going to give you the ideas and to implement the plan, which is what you're doing. Is you have a plan for each
Right.
person, and then of course to have an accountability partner. But may not just be your coach. That might be that you have a friend that does it, but it's not something that you can go just do on your own. It's very hard to do. And the big news is that you can get out of debt quickly.
Very quickly.
And we're going to talk about some of the different ones that you do. Your own is 22 months.
20 months.
20 months.
Around
I'm sorry, 20 months. I'm sorry. I know people that are in debt for years, and to do that and have the discipline for that. And that's also awesome because you offer that for them to help them have that discipline. Her website is yourdebtfreequickly.com. Check her out. And let's talk a little bit about some of your different clients that you wanted to bring up.
All right. One of the clients that I had, it was a female, and we worked in 2020. We started in 2022, and we started in October 2022, and she was about $10,000 to $12,000 in debt, and she got out of debt by April of 2023.
Wow.
And she paid off her car, she paid off everything, and she was like, I can't believe I did this. And I think it took a little bit longer because she was reluctant at first, because she was scared that she couldn't do it. She didn't want to do it. She didn't want to face her debt, and that's what she was telling me. Those are her excuses. And then once she finally got disciplined, she goes, all right, I'm in for it. And when she did, we were done, and she was going to the finish pole, and she did it within 6 months.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about this newest client, because there's not just, you think about credit card debt or school loan debt, or you're talking about medical debt. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But also car loan, that's a debt.
Yep, that's a more. And
Maybe
that's,
your house is a debt. Maybe you want to get rid of that. It might be harder.
That'll take a little longer. But the new client, I do work with males. I prefer females, but I do work with males. And this guy, I work with him, and he's just like, he had medical debt. And he showed me his medical bills, and I was like, no. And I was like, what you need to do is go home and put these together. And I was like, if one of the things is, if they have the same account numbers, throw away the old ones and keep the newest one. And then he had an account, and he had one, and I'm like, let me check into it. And it was $1,500, one of the medical bills, and I was like, let me check into it, and I'll let you know. And so I checked into it, and I found out that he didn't need to pay that bill. It was taken care of because of miscalculation on some data entry, and now his bill, and I think he was going to give me a hug through the phone. He was so happy.
Right.
So,
but you also mentioned that when you talk about medical debt, that because you're a social worker, there's things that you know and there's things that you have access to that others don't.
Yes, like I said, I'm a medical social worker, so I know there's programs out there to help other people with medical debt and various things. The main thing for one of them is you have to look at your bill and make sure your insurance is on your bill. If you get a bill for $15,000 and you're looking at it, hey, there's no insurance, call the hospital, Dr. Bill or whatever, and let them know that you do have insurance. That $15,000 may be just $500. And then we could work with that. And I had a client years ago. She was going in for surgery. She went with her doctor in network, and she's literally under the knife. And the assistant surgeon came in, and he was out of network. And so we called the insurance company. We explained what happened, that the doctor recruited this assistant, and then she was literally under the knife. So instead of paying out of pocket or out of network expenses, it went way back, and it saved her $700 right there.
So, interesting that's where the coaching comes along too, because you, and of course your background in social working, is that you can also talk to them, and you can find out, you can do things that other people can't.
Right.
Which is awesome. And you don't even know, that's, again, now everybody's going to run home and check their bills and their doctor bills.
I hope so.
I mean, you should. And that's the thing, is that people don't know what they don't know. I say it all the time.
That's right. And with medical bills, it's just so crazy, because when you're paying for insurance, you have the premium, and then you have the co-insurance, and then you have your deductible, and then it's total out-of-pocket cost. So out-of-pocket my total out-of-pocket cost for the year is $3,000. Once I get the $3,000, everything else is paid for, and I like that part.
Yeah, doesn't everyone?
Yeah. But you have to make sure that you have that covered.
Right. And that's everything is. I know people know a lot. They like, oh yeah, well I know that. But a lot of times we forget about those things.
Yes.
And that's important that you put it all together. She's all about you getting out of debt fast. Not just getting out of debt, but getting out of debt fast. And then keeping out of debt. That's another thing.
Yes. And debt is 20% knowledge, 80% behavior. So we could get you out of debt, and we'll go fine, and then you start getting more credit cards, or you have more medical bills, or it's the behavior and it's changing the behavior so you won't go back into debt.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, because that's not really fun. You
No,
just got
no.
out of it.
And we're all hardworking people, and things are not getting cheaper. So keep as much money to yourself as you can, and without paying your debt. Without going into debt, you have more money for you. And if you're still working, you have more money to put in your retirement for when you're not working. And if you're already retired, that's more money in your pocket, so you won't be going paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, or Social Security check to Social Security check. And on top of everything, what I hear more than anything, us older folks, you need to get rid of that debt.
Oh, yeah.
It is all about that, so that you can retire.
Right.
Or even I don't even know if you're working or not working, but to retire with peace of mind.
Yes.
To have an emergency fund, which I'm sure you help with that as well.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because it's all a part of it. And to be able to, like she says, get out of debt fast. And that's what the bottom line is. Once you're out of debt, now you can start saving money.
Yes.
And putting that towards a retirement.
Right, and a bigger emergency fund. And if you don't have an emergency fund, you can start one $1,000 in an emergency fund when you're just getting out of debt. Is great. $500 to $1,000 is great. I had an emergency fund, and it helped me out. My car, I owe it outright, and the fuel pump went.
Of course.
And of course, I had to pay the fuel pump, and various things like that. But I had the money. I didn't have to go into debt to pay for the fuel pump. And that's the things that for an emergency fund, it means that you don't have to go into debt. And you also want to save for trips. If you're going to Disney World or
Hawaii. I know somebody's going to Hawaii.
Yes, or Hawaii. You want to plan ahead and have that money before you go, and you don't want to pay for that trip to Hawaii or Disney 6-7 months after you came back.
Right, and unfortunately, the unexpected happens.
Right.
Always happens.
Oh, Murphy's Law, always.
Yeah, always. So, and what we want to do is make sure that, if it's you or someone that she does work with men, but she does prefer women. Women tend to resonate, I know, with these kinds of things. It's a personalized, it's a program that she has created to help you get out of debt fast. Not just get out of debt, but get out of debt fast. My mouth isn't working. Her website is yourdebtfreequickly.com, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk further about you being an author and all sorts of fun things. Hang tight, we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, there we go. So we're still live.
You're right.
Right. And for you, when you have your clients and they start working with you, do they feel like, this is just overwhelming?
Well, what I do when I first start with my clients, I ask them what their pain points are. And it may be their finances, it may be a car payment, or just not having enough money for the month. And then I ask them what their goals are. And what is their goal? Number one, I ask for 3 goals. 1, 2, or 3, and we work on them. And that's what we do. And so, and it's like
when you work with people, though, is it more like you're done and then that's it? Like once you get them out of debt, then you've done your job, or how does that work?
Well, when I work through the program, I'm there. They could text me, they could call me, or send me an email, and I'll respond. If they get back into debt, they would call me again, Karen,
Yeah.
and I need help. Okay, what did you do?
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't want to know. I'm like, well, you're calling me. I do want to know.
Yeah.
And so then I start with them, and I'm like, well, what happened? And I go with that, and I make sure that they tell me what happens.
Right, you can dig it out of them.
Yep, and I'm like, okay, and it's like, where do you want to start? and then we go and sometimes the second time around is not as in depth because they like, okay, I just needed a push.
Yeah, right.
And that I'm there to help them, and I guide them to starting the budget again.
I'm really proud. I have a daughter that got herself out of debt.
Good.
I don't know how long it took her. I don't know
Right.
if it was fast,
Right.
but she got out of debt completely, except for her student loans.
Mhm.
That was the only thing, because she just turned 30,
Mhm.
but she really wanted to do it. And I
That's
thought that was
good.
really cool that she
That's
did.
good.
It
And
shows her that she can do it again if ever she needs to.
And she can get out of debt with her student loans. She should be working on those.
Yeah.
That's the next big hurdle, and a lot of people have that big hurdle. And I'm going to be working with a new client, and I work with her, and I know what she does. I have not seen her bring lunch to work since I've been there.
Oh, wow. That's
So-
awesome.
And so
So they
we're
listen.
No, she has not. We are starting to work with
Okay,
her.
so,
So that's the first thing.
okay.
So we're going to stop.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yep.
She has, okay, so
She
you
has
can see.
it.
Yeah, so it's so weird because it's so easy, and everything is so expensive now. If you go out, it used to be breakfast was less money,
Yeah.
not anymore.
No.
Not anymore.
So, and I don't go out much, and when I do go out, because not only I'm vegetarian, and plus, a lot of people that at restaurants, they add salt to make it taste better.
Yeah,
And I'm on a low side. I don't add salt to my food.
I take it away. I don't even cook with it.
I don't either. I cook with other spices.
Yeah,
And I mean, I had a transplant, and if they told me I couldn't have garlic, I would have like, forget it, no way, because I'm a garlic guy.
yeah.
I like my garlic. So, but I use garlic instead of salt.
Sure.
I use pepper.
Well, that food
and-
has it already in there.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I just,
they do. But going out is probably one of the, especially now, people are always on the run, they're always on the go. So instead of, or you go to the market and you spend $100-200 at the market.
Yeah.
You come in, there's nothing to eat.
Yeah.
So you end up going out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I like Arnold Palmer. Arnold Palmer lemonade and iced tea. I make it at home. I make a gallon at a time. I bring the lemonade, and I have the tea bag.
So you don't have to go out. And you know what else?
I can
Buying a soda,
Yeah.
even when you're out, that should be cut off right there. Everybody should just be drinking water.
Water.
It's
I know.
like an extra $4 or $5, or if you've got with more people, then it's an extra $30 for just the drinks.
And it's expensive. It is expensive to go out. So, oops, this thing.
We just do it again.
I just did it again.
You got it? I'm just an old lady. Mr. Magoo.
There we go.
Mr. Magoo.
Okay.
Karen Rosner, she's owner of Personal Financial Coaching, KMR Personal Financial Coaching. And I want to talk really quickly before we go into your story of your book and everything. You were just on Channel 3, Channel 5, and a lot of people have been reaching out to you, not only for your financial coaching, but also about your life story, you know, and especially the hospitals that you because you were in one for a while.
Oh yeah, Boston Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
My home away from home, or my home, and then my parents' home was my home away from the hospital.
That's real. But I want you to talk a little bit about the book, and it is called My 12 Hours Aren't Up Yet. On Facebook, I'm going to let you go ahead and see that right there. It's on there live. You can watch us in here doing this right now. Go to Networking Arizona. First, I want you to talk about your story.
Like I said, I was born in Massachusetts. I'm one of 8 children, and I was the first girl to my mom. And she told my father that she wasn't going to stop until she had a girl. She had me, and then...
Did she stop?
Nope. She had my sister. But when I was born, I was in the hospital for 10 days, like normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was being baptized, or before I was being baptized, when I came home, I didn't cry. I didn't cry because I was hungry. I didn't cry because I was wet. I slept a lot. And Mom said, there's something wrong with her. And she talked to the my pediatrician, and he goes, you have a good girl. And my mom's like, I know good and I know trouble, and there's something wrong with her. There's trouble. And when I was being baptized, I started turning blue.
Oh.
And they rushed me to the hospital, and I was born, and I had double pneumonia, and my heart was twice the size it was supposed to be. And I was rushed to Boston Children's Hospital, which became my home for that year. And I found out that I had transposition, or my mom did, not me, found out that I had transposition of great vessels, which means my heart vessels and lung vessels were like this instead of like this.
They were together entwined instead of apart.
But no, it was the lung vessels were going back to the lungs, and the heart vessels were going back to the blood was going back to the body. So I wasn't getting any oxygenated blood, and that's why I was turning blue. And my mom's like, I knew there was a problem, and I had to have an emergency open heart surgery at 9 weeks old.
Wow, that's scary right there.
And they told my parents that I may not live to my first birthday. I'm 60, so I lived to my first birthday. I had to have several surgeries, and it was in and out of the hospitals when I was a child. Even in young adulthood, I was in and out of hospitals. I had my son, against all odds, but he's healthy and everything. And then a friend of mine told me I should write a book. And I was like, yeah, So I just brushed it off. And I finally started writing the book, and it took me 20 years, and I got it. And it's my 12 hours aren't up yet. But at the age of 42, I had a heart transplant. And it was, I knew I was going to need a transplant. And they talked to me about a transplant most of my life, and I was like, yeah. And so I finally came down to where I had needed a transplant. This April, I will be celebrating 18 years of my transplant.
How cool is that?
Yes.
Now, I want to talk about the book, because this is a book that is a feel-good book for anyone that is going through. If you know somebody who has to have a transplant, or what else? I mean, not just
medical.
Any medical.
It has everything in my life. It has my medical history, and when I was a young adult going out with my ex-husband, my boyfriend at the time, and I was struggling financially. I couldn't work at one time. I had to have a pacemaker implanted, and my ex-husband was in the Navy, and he was out to sea, and I ended up having a pacemaker, but and then I had trouble with it, and I was supposed to go back to work, but I couldn't go back to work because I had trouble, so I was out of work for another 6 weeks. So I was out of work for 12 weeks, don't have a dime. I was being evicted from my apartment. I was just strapped for money, and I went to legal aid, and they were able to help me talk to the landlord, and saying that she's not meaning to do this, but once she gets back to work, she'll start paying. And my car was repossessed and various things like that, but I finally got back on my feet after I started back to work again. And then my boyfriend came home, and he helped me out. And I got on Medicaid, so I could help that, and SNAP, and various programs. But once I got married, and once I was able to get back to work, I stopped all those programs. Those programs are great to getting you help, but I didn't want to stay on them.
Right.
They were an aid for me. And I got out of that and I was able to go back to work. I have medical bills. Medical bills to me is like the electricity. I will always have medical bills.
Yeah, it is true. You
Yeah.
will.
I will always have medical bills. And I got out of debt that way. And then I got out of, my husband helped me that way. And then when I was divorced. So the book talks about that. And
So, but
various things.
that's the thing. It's a lot of people out there have gone through for some tough times, right? And when you can, have like a book like this that can help you. First of all, I'm sure there's ideas in here too. Once you read it, it's like, oh, that was a good idea. I can implement something like that for myself. But to know that you're not alone.
Right.
I think that's the main thing that you want. And when Channel 3 did the story on you just recently, did you talk about the same thing like we're doing here?
I talked about my book. I only had a brief time with them. I talked about my book and what I'm doing. And I'm a transplant social worker, and this business is a side business until it really picks up, which I really want it to. And once it picks up, then I'll be this full time. But it was about my job. I'm a transplant recipient, and I work with transplant patients. And
so you relate to them.
Yes,
right?
I relate to them, and I could tell them things that doctors can't tell them.
We have our lines open here. What we're going to do is we're going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show to get entered into win the book. It's called My 12 Hours Aren't Up Yet, which is what you were told, that you only had about 12 hours to live.
Yes.
And you obviously have lived a lot longer than 12 hours.
Since 1975, I haven't done the hours, but it's more than 12.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to leave our lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win a signed autographed copy of the book. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. And I'm going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show. We talked a little bit about your, how you get it. It's in your book as well of how you can get out of not the steps to, but what you did, your story, and how you got there. And her website, she has a new website, which is yourdebtfreequickly.com. We're also going to come back and talk a little bit about your foundation. We want to talk about that too. We're going to leave our lines open here, and everybody on Facebook is seeing it. Karen, you are a pillar in our community.
Thank you.
I know that you work with Brian Newman a lot, and a lot of the events that they put on, and you're always a part of things, and you really always try and get your name out there, and also to help other people. I think that's your main goal, is to help other people. Whether it's through somebody who's got medical bills from being sick, to maybe you're just in debt and you want to get out of debt quickly. She's here to help. You can call here. We're going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Maybe it's you or someone that you know. Call in and get the book. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute. Keep it on going here. Keep it on going.
Yep.
What is your favorite part of your book? Of the book? I have this book, by the way. So
You do?
No.
Oh, okay. I like it all, but I like the positive parts of it, and the story. And my favorite quote is, "They told me I couldn't. That's why I did."
Oh yeah, that's totally.
And that's what it is. And I told the radio station that too. They told me I couldn't. That's why I did. I wasn't supposed to have my son. I got my son.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to live.
So far, you weren't supposed to a lot.
Yeah.
But you did.
Yes. And the favorite story I like is when I was going for a transplant. Dr. Cantor was my doctor before the transplant. Dr. Rogers was my doctor post-transplant. And when Dr. Rogers came in the room with Dr. Cantor, he goes, "Hi, I'm Dr. Rogers, and you can't do..." And Dr. Cantor's like, "Do not tell this woman she can't do anything, because she'll prove you wrong." She wasn't supposed to live. She lived. She lived through the mustard procedure. She has a child. Don't tell her she can't do anything.
Exactly. We're going to talk about that when we get on air, because it's important for people to hear that.
Yes. And he goes, "Well, how does she take instructions?" She goes, You tell her that it's advised that she doesn't do this.
Oh, I see. I see.
But it was good. I like that part.
We're going to talk about that right now.
I dedicated the book to my mother and to my son. I lost my mother 4 years ago. Alzheimer's.
You were young.
No, I was only 50. I was 52. Yeah, 50. Oh, what's I? 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
56.
Oh, you were 56, 40 years. I thought you were 60.
I'm 60, but Mom, 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, 4. Okay. Here we go. So welcome back, everyone. I don't know if anybody out there is a person who can't take no for an answer. I've been talking with Karen during the break. I love to talk to the clients during the break, and you know, so interesting how that's what you said that you love about your book the most is teach people how to not take no for an answer.
Right.
I want to talk about that.
All right. When I was before my transplant, I had Dr. Cantor, and Dr. Rogers was going to be a post-transplant doctor. And Dr. Rogers came in my room, in my hospital room with Dr. Cantor, and Dr. Rogers said, "Hi, I'm Dr. Rogers, and after your transplant, you can do." And Dr. Cantor stopped him. And he goes, "Do not tell this woman she can't do anything, because she'll prove you wrong. She wasn't supposed to live, and she's here. She lived through the muster procedure in 1975, and she only had 12 hours to live. She was told not to have a child, and at the time, she has a 15-year-old at home. So do not tell her not to do anything." She goes, "Well, how do you get her to listen?" He goes, "Tell her it's advisable that she doesn't do." And okay, so
But you definitely have beat the odds
Oh, I
every single
have.
time. And here's the thing. If you're looking at getting out of debt quickly, that's the other thing, is you beat the odds on that. Not very
Yes.
many people, and one of your clients literally practically almost 6 months later was
Yes.
out of debt. That is pretty huge.
Excuse me.
She's also the author of My 12 Hours Aren't Up Yet, and we're talking a little bit about that right now. We've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win a signed autographed copy of the book, and our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. It's a book for courage.
It's a book for courage. It's a book for inspiration. It's somebody to give them guidance, and letting somebody know that they're not alone, that they're not going through this journey alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I work with transplant patients, and I tell them, and I have a shirt myself. It says, "You can't tell me no because I'm on anti-rejection medicine."
I love that. Anti-rejection medicine.
Well,
But also, too, it's because of, you know, the fact that you just have the will.
oh yeah, oh
Right?
yeah,
You know, and there's a lot of people out there, when they're diagnosed with something as severe as what has happened to you, I mean, wow, a lot of people cave.
Yeah, and it was my life. I started from day one with a heart problem, and when I had the transplant and my heart was really going down, I was at 10% of my heart function.
Wow.
And the doctors, they're like, "How did you function?" I was like, "I didn't know anything different," which is true.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because before my transplant, I had a pacemaker, and the pacemaker was at 70. Anything I did was 70. After my transplant, I noticed my heart rate was at 79, 80. I was moving around. I was going, I'm like, what's going on? And my doctor's like, this is what a normal heart's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so I had a normal heart.
Oh,
I have a
isn't that
normal
cool?
heart now.
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
And you know what? Your normal heart is what really what this is all about, for you to be able to help people, help other people out there, and to help them through whether it's going through something medically, whether you're doing it financially, the support that you give to other people is huge. You also have a foundation, and we want to talk a little bit about that. We've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win a signed autographed copy of her book. Maybe it's for you or someone that you know. It's a feel-good book, and it's something that will help you, give you courage, a story of courage. My 12 hours aren't up yet. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Now, you also have a foundation.
I do, and the proceeds for the book goes to my foundation. The foundation's called Your New Lease on Life, and it's for transplant patients, any type of transplant. I help my foundation helps transplant patients for co-pays of medical costs, and if they're traveling, it will help with traveling, lodging, and food if their insurance company does not cover that information. And it helps with co-pays for medical appointments. And today everything's expensive, and medications and immunosuppressants and any other medications are very expensive. There was one medication that I was on, I'm not on it anymore, thankfully, but at the beginning, and every transplant patient's on it, it's called Valsite, and it's very expensive. When I was on it, I went to the drugstore and it's like, okay, Jeremy, because I knew the people at the drugstore, how much is my medicine? And he goes, $14. And I'm like, oh, $14, I got it. He goes, $1,400. I was like, Jeremy, you can keep it. Because that was more than my rent at the time. And so I was able, and social worker, I knew how to get assistance, but I had to ask for help to fill out the application, because it was just right after my surgery, my transplant, and I was still foggy. So, but my nonprofit, my organization, is to help out transplant patients.
The proceeds from the book all go to her foundation, which is Your New Lease on Life foundation, so you can check that out too. But you know what, whether it's for you or someone that you know, there's so many, we think of heart transplants, there's millions of other types of transplants that people get that are very, very, very expensive for them.
Oh yeah, any transplant, any organ transplant, liver, kidney. Kidney is the #1 transplant. Liver, pancreas, and small intestines.
It goes on and
heart,
on.
and then there's the eyes, and then there's tissue transplant. And they use bones, they use muscles, and they use tendons. I tell people I was a little greedy, because when I got my transplant, my heart transplant, I also got some of their heart vessels, because mine were damaged from all the surgeries I had.
Well, let me just tell you, let me just talk about this. For right now, what I think people need to know is that you want to share this with people out there so that you can help other people. That's what it's all about. This book is called My 12 Hours Aren't Up Yet. All the proceeds go to help other people with, obviously, with transplant issues as well. And that's Your New Lease on Life Foundation.
Right.
You can also check her out. Maybe you want to get out of debt, because that is something that's also in the book, and her story is there to help you too see that you can do this, whether it's for you or someone that you know.
Right.
It's maybe I'm going to just bring this up too. You're also going to be, speaking at an engagement for women.
Yes.
That they actually called you from listening to the show, which is kind of a cool thing that happened to you.
It is, and she called me, she told me she heard me on the show, and she has a networking company with all women, and she wanted me to be a speaker, so I'll be a speaker at that on April 11th, and I have the information at home. I can't remember.
It's okay. It's been a while, but we're going to get that out there. You're going to also
Yeah.
come back and talk. But we want people to know that this is something that when you do this, you're going to be able to, at this point, help other people. So it's
Right.
not just for you, it's for also helping others as well.
Right.
Right? And so you can call in here. We're going to let everyone keep on calling throughout the rest of the show. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. It is basically just a feel-good story of courage, right? And it says right here that you had health issues, and a lot of people out there have a lot of health issues.
Oh, yes.
And it ends up costing you so much money. You go into debt, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
That's not good when that happens. But then you have Karen
Yep.
that can help. And I think also, Karen, what you can help other two people as well, that even if they call you before they know that let's say they might know right now that they've got health issues and they've got all these bills or these medications that they're paying probably way too much money for, you could probably help them with that as well.
I sure can. And my dad calls me his $1 million child because of all the medical bills.
Yeah, I bet.
Yes.
And unfortunately, those were his.
Yes. Well,
till you
before I was
turned
18, yes. And then they were mine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but-
And some people do have a lot of health issues. And, call in for the book. And our number here is 602-277-5369. And toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. It's about overcoming the obstacles.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
what it's all about. Whether, again, health obviously is a big one to have to overcome.
Yes, health and finance, and just and having somebody there in your corner and backing you up, and being an accountability partner. That's what I enjoy doing.
Right.
And I like saying no to people that are spending weird, but I like helping them more because I like seeing them win at their financial gains. And it's great when I see somebody, when they get out of debt, it tears me up because it's so amazing and so liberating for them.
Absolutely. It's all about that, number one, for people especially who are older, women. She likes to work with women mostly, but she does work with men as well. Honestly, for anybody who has to overcome any kind of hurdle. The book is a wonderful book. Thank you for writing it. Again, all the proceeds go to her foundation, which is your new lease on Life Foundation. The book is called My 12 Hours Aren't Up Yet. She was just on Channel 3, Channel 5, and she's going to be doing a speaking event. Also, we forgot to say there's a magazine, Banner. Is it Banner?
Banner Connection, it's from Banner, and I was they honored me when talking about my book, and it's really interesting.
On the front page as well. So you can check her out. And call in here for the book. It's My 12 Hours Aren't Up Yet. 602-277-5369. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Did you like the hour?
Yeah.
Did you like it better?
Yeah, it's a lot faster.